the God particle, which is the formula for where mass comes from in the universe.
And that's new? I don't know anything about that.
So scientists confirmed it in 2012. And there's an episode where he literally like has the equation written on a chalkboard in 1998.
The exact equation?
Yes.
That's wild.
Man, that's
I think
something evil about this.
Yeah, that one, that's the one that really, really freaks me out.
Welcome to Mosaic Minds, the podcast where every episode is a colorful blend of perspectives, ideas, and conversations. Each week, our diverse team of hosts brings their unique backgrounds, experiences, and interests to the table. Mosaic Minds is your invitation to join the conversation to see the world through a kaleidoscope of viewpoints. So grab a seat, tune in, and let the mosaic unfold before you.
Getting drunk on the podcast.
It's energy drink. All right, you ready?
I'm ready.
Welcome to Mosaic Minds. To my left here, your right, is Crystal. To my right is Jason, and my name is Nick. And tonight we're going to be talking about the predictions that have come about from the Simpsons episodes. And Crystal has actually put this together for us, so she's going to bring up some of the different predictions or the different topics, and then we'll discuss those. So, Crystal.
All right. Yeah, I thought this was an interesting one. Do you guys watch The Simpsons a lot?
I don't anymore. I used to watch it all the time.
watched it occasionally. I'm familiar with it, but can't say I'm a normal viewer.
So, little tidbit, I was not allowed to watch The Simpsons as a kid.
I was not allowed to watch it either.
So, I started watching it as an adult, and I haven't watched it a whole lot, but I'm trying to catch up. But I thought these were really interesting. And the first one that I saw, remember Siegfried and Roy?
Yeah, the tiger guys.
Yeah.
One of them got eaten.
Yeah, he got mauled by the tiger, and then
Did he die?
No, they had to retire though because he got really hurt. So that happened in 2003, right? So in 1993, there was an episode of The Simpsons where they're at a show and Roy gets attacked by the tiger.
Really?
Yeah. So that was.
And Roy's the one that got attacked in real life?
Uh-huh.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I thought that was really weird.
I was out in Vegas recently, and one of those guys, Siegfried or Roy, had his picture on the side of a building.
Really?
Maybe he performs there or something.
You know what? I think I did. I think I remember seeing that in Vegas. I think it was Siegfried.
There you go. I would agree with that.
Yeah.
So the other guy, he hung up his...
I think so. I think he's...
What would a lion tamer hang up?
Tiger.
Or tiger tamer. What would they hang up? I was going to say he hung up his stripes, but that doesn't really make
I was going to
sense.
say I'd be lying if I knew the answer.
Oh my God.
Easy, tiger.
Very good. Well played.
All right. So now that the dad jokes are out. So this one actually I think is even weirder. So I think technology is really hard to predict. Mm-hmm. I have no idea where it's going to go. I don't know if you guys have any ideas. But in 1995, there was an episode about the future, and it was Lisa's wedding. And in the episode, they had smartwatches and they had video chat, like FaceTime.
And this was way before that was even really talked about?
Yeah, so this was in 1995, and the first time it came out was 2010.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think in 95, so I would have been 15. So I didn't even have a cell phone. My first cell phone was in high school. No, yeah. And when I first started high school, I had a pager. I did. But
too.
my first cell phone had a little antenna that you pulled up like that. It was a little square and it had a flip down mic.
Yeah.
And the contacts, you scrolled this little wheel to.
And if you put
So
your
it's
finger
analog.
on the antenna, sometimes you could get better.
I'm gonna keep it gangster. I had a Naughty by Nature tape that was a single with a little cardboard thing that goes around the tape. The single player, you tear the cellophane off of it, you throw your tape in there, then you flip it over the other side of the cassette.
Yeah, cassette tape.
Another song. Yeah, it was like
A single. Yeah. It was like they
like
come
a
in like a
promo
little
for the CD.
box.
Exactly.
Yeah, I had the Michael Jackson black or white.
There you go.
Single.
There you go.
Yeah, so 95, I was 9.
Yeah, shut up.
So,
That was the Bone Thugs and Harmony era as well.
yeah, I did too.
90
Well, when my parents weren't around, because I wasn't allowed to listen to secular music.
I would say that'd be Nirvana era, wouldn't it, Nick?
Yes, 90s were the best. Was the
Nirvana,
best.
Pearl Jam.
Best music.
Which was
Yep.
a lot.
Stone Temple
Since I grew up
Pilots.
in Washington, everyone was listening to Nirvana and Pearl Jam all the time. That's all I heard.
I think the commonality of those is so far reached that now you're talking technology and a weird guy that gets mauled by a tiger. That to me is impressive to me because those have nothing to do with each other, and they're 2 for 2 so far.
Right.
That's wild.
Yeah, I would have never predicted smart watches. I mean, I don't know. I guess I could have predicted it because the future. You think of flying cars and like the Jetsons and that kind of thing.
Car is an easy one, but like FaceTime.
Well, I'm pretty sure if I remember right, in the Jetsons they had smart watches, didn't they?
I don't remember.
They definitely had like video phones and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I think. Do you remember?
Well,
but
I don't know about the video phones, but I know they had flying cars, and honestly, they say that's going to be a thing within the next 5 years.
Yeah, well, they've been talking about that for years because they're talking about the magnets.
Yeah.
So, like a train, like basically it's 2 magnets flipped on top of each other, which would cause the train to basically to float. You know what I mean? And so, as the magnets move, then the train moves. I don't know if that's the same technology they're talking about with cars, but that would make sense because that would keep cars from just going all over the place in the
drive
air.
cars on a road. Like the thought of flying cars scares the shit out of me.
Well, don't get too excited. It's only going to be the rich folk. Okay.
That's a random question. It's off the topic a little bit, but would anybody ride in a car and just fall asleep and let the car drive you like 7 hours to a destination?
Absolutely not.
I'm
Like
not
a
down.
Tesla?
I'm not down with that.
No,
You're not supposed to do that.
No.
Like you're supposed to stay away. Like you can be watching a movie or something like that, but you're not supposed. In fact, I think it's in California. Someone told me they have it's like specifically for this, but there's like a button if you come up next to someone and they're sleeping in their Tesla while it's driving, like you like push the button and it like gives this really loud noise like honk thing to wake them up.
Nice.
What the heck?
Yeah.
Well played, Tesla.
But yeah, I don't trust technology enough to just sleep. Now if someone else was in the car, maybe it'd be like, hey, keep an eye out.
Right.
I'm gonna take a little nap. But
Wonder if Bart and Marge would have rode around in a Tesla back in the day.
They wouldn't have had the money for a Tesla.
Sorry, I'm just trying to be ethical. That was kind of lame.
yeah, they drink Duff beer. I doubt they could afford a Tesla.
Right.
A
There
Tesla.
There you go.
But another weird technology one that they predicted a year before that was autocorrect.
Really?
Yeah, so like there was an episode where I guess like I should have written exactly down what happened, but they predicted autocorrect and I thought it was
Like autocorrect, like spell check, like on a phone and stuff.
yeah, like they were typing something and it like recorrected itself and sent like the wrong thing and like there was a whole episode about it.
Wow. See, now I would have never predicted ChatGPT. ChatGPT still blows my mind.
Oh yeah.
I mean, like you've seen it work.
Oh yeah.
Like whenever we tried to do some of the promos, we wrote. I typed in, I want to write us a script for a promo about Crystal. This is what she's into. Apply it to her, and it's just like, just like wrote out the entire script. It's nuts.
I think what impresses me or blows my mind would be a better way to put it is how quick it is. Like you don't have to sit there and wait 10 minutes for it.
Right.
It's like
it's immediate.
I might be exaggerating a little bit, but it's seconds.
Yeah, it's like 3
It's like-
seconds.
yeah, there you go.
And that's why people are so afraid of AI, because every time someone types something in or whatever, like it's learning from itself constantly. So that's why it gets better and better. Because did you use it when it first came out?
No, I just started using it.
It was still awesome, but not nearly as advanced as it is now.
For all you sports-minded fans, he's talking about the technology side, but the original AI was Allen Iverson. back in the mid 90s, played basketball. Now you have.
You just had to bring sports back up.
Today's AI is
AI being the initials of Allen
that was his
Iverson.
nickname back in the 90s.
He was the one with the cornrows, right?
Yep. Crossover. Very good player.
Yeah.
Very good technology, though. Very good technology. I think it's going to be a game changer for people.
I was a copywriter for 10 years, and I'm glad I'm not anymore because
You'd be like,
I'd be out of a job.
I'm going to take a nap and type. So, like I keep seeing these ads and stuff on Facebook for people trying to sell all these AI programs and stuff, to learn certain things. And one of them is apparently a big market is children's books. And I've noticed that they're advertising like, hey, use AI to make endless money writing children's books and that kind of thing. So I don't know. So do you think, I know that it can only do so much because I tried to get it to do, I tried to paste like a blog that I wrote to get it to make it longer. And it said that it was too long. Like I put too much in there. So I know there are some limitations to it.
Well, if you think Chat GPT is something you can't predict, on The Simpsons, Homer discovered the God particle, which is the formula for where mass comes from in the universe.
And that's new? I don't know anything about that.
So scientists confirmed it in 2012. And there's an episode where he literally has the equation written on a chalkboard in 1998.
The exact equation?
Yes.
That's wild.
Man, that's
I think
something evil about this.
Yeah, that one, that's the one that really, really freaks me out.
the broadcasting side of me sits here and says that this is all super impressive, but how do you have that character roll that out? Does that make sense?
I was wondering how
Bart
Homer
could have
did
it
it.
in a piece of paper hanging out of the back of his backpack, but it's on a chalkboard for this person. That to me is interesting, how you write it into the script and incorporate it into a show and predict it. I mean, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's good stuff.
I want to know which writer decided.
Seriously, that's a good point.
Yeah,
Like which writer? Like, is it always the same writer that's predicting the shit?
yeah. I want to know which writers are doing this, and I want them to buy me a lottery ticket.
And somebody out there might know the answer to that. So if you happen to know a little bit more detail about this, like which writer it is, just put that in the comments or something so that we can. Because I'm curious.
Yeah,
like, I would really like to know.
Stuff. I learned about this stuff just the other day as I'm pulling it up. And remember the whole NSA spying scandal when we first found out they were watching us?
Yeah,
So that was in 2013. So there was an episode in 2007 where the NSA was spying on everybody and they found out. Specifically the NSA.
Like through people's cameras and stuff like that? Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. Like every time after that happened, anytime I walk by my webcam or something, I would just flip it off. And I would purposely walk in front of it naked, come out of the shower and walk in front of it naked.
My bad.
You're let me give them something. I won't do that. They'd like that too much. It's a bunch of dudes watching. That's good for you, but I can't do that.
Well, maybe. I mean, or they're just recording it, maybe they're going to start an NSA OnlyFans. No strings attached. NSA. Get it?
I
Ew.
challenge anybody to make a prediction now about anything that's going to happen in the next 5 years. Anybody got anything? I can't come up with anything.
We're going to war.
You'll win that every time. Let's
yeah,
just be
there-
in 3 or 4 fronts at all times.
There will be violence.
So, it's just tough. I mean, you know what I mean. I guess what I'm trying to say is I'm not creative enough to come up with some scientific equation, nor am I smart enough
I
jet it out.
have no idea. All I know is we're going to elect some idiot and we're going to go to war, because that's what happens all the time.
Oh, yeah, I can pretty definitively say that whoever gets elected president is going to be corrupt because, that's pretty much how it goes. They're all the politicians are corrupt. So.
So on my way to the gym, there's a house and they have this gigantic sign that says all politicians are pedophiles on their house. It's a huge.
Now that's a pretty bold statement.
It's a huge banner. And then get this, there's a huge.
All politicians.
Yeah, and then they have a huge Trump one
Jeez.
sign, which really makes me laugh because I'm he's a politician now. So whether you want to admit it or not.
In my warped Mosaic mind, I think that it's not a prediction, but they say that style trends come around Isn't it like every 30 to 40 years old?
I don't even think it's that.
I think it's something along the lines of every 20 to 30 years, styles recycle themselves.
Yeah,
and
it's like
become
every 20
modern
years
again.
because like the 90s were just in like hard, and now like the early 2000s stuff is coming back.
God, and the fact that the early 2000 stuff is considered old and coming back around.
No.
I hope Jenkos come back around. I want some big old baggy
I was gonna
Jenkos.
say the big,
Yes!
big old baggy jeans.
They already
those-
did.
Yeah.
Well, they've already come and gone again.
No, Google it. Like you can buy them.
I mean, I'm sure you can, but I'm saying like really come
want
into
them to
style
be, like, super
I
popular?
do. I'm not ashamed to say that I do pay attention to men's style, like, and so I do know that like cuffing. You know, if you notice, especially with jeans, cuffing is really big right now, right? So yes, and so like
My bad.
so
I'm kicking our shit over.
tight rolling. You remember that?
Oh, yeah. You got to have the Eastlands, right, with the little green tag on it, Nick. Remember those?
The what?
The wash leather with the green tag.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Eastland shoes.
Yeah.
I have
Then the
no
penny
idea what you guys are
loafers
talking
with the
about.
penny
Oh, I remember the penny loafers.
Well, the penny loafers, that was before our time, though, right?
yeah,
or my time at
that's
least.
like what like our grandparents wore when we were.
But those are coming back. I mean, those are coming. Loafers, especially. Loafers are.
Don't tell
huge.
me penny loafers are. That's terrible.
Not with the penny in them.
Okay.
But yeah, loafers are
Now,
definitely
my
coming
mind's
back. around.
wandering a little bit, and it's kind of applicable, but kind of not. I think I'm going to leave that with the 20 to 30 year trend. But one of the most cool shows I've ever watched was actually, I believe, is it James Corden or Corbin?
Corbin.
Yeah, he interviewed Paul McCartney, and Paul McCartney took him to the original place that the songs were about. So they went in the barber shop and like walked through the Beatles history. So I was fascinated by that because that to me is 20 to 30 years old. It recycles itself and it's still popular to that upcoming.
So speaking of the Beatles, I didn't write this one down, but there was a Simpsons prediction where in one episode they got a letter from one of the Beatles, I think it was Ringo, like 30 years later or something, and that actually happened to somebody. Like several years after the episode came out.
So what you're saying is I predicted that was going to happen on The Simpsons.
Apparently.
And that was a perfect segue.
Yep.
Look at that. She's a star.
Wow. Yeah.
Perfect segue. That's what I'm talking about.
Copywriter.
You know, I didn't research that. That's interesting. Now, educate me a little bit because I'm not too hip on the music. Ringo's still alive today?
I think so. I'm pretty sure.
I would have to Google it. I have no idea.
I'm pretty sure that all of them are still alive except for John Lennon.
Now, is he relating to Shooting Star and Superstar and
What? What's that?
He's
his last name's Star?
It's his dad jokes
so he's
again.
not related to like Superstar or like Shining Star.
It is ironic that his last name's Starr and he's like the least popular Beatle.
Now, let me ask you this other question: is that his legit name?
I don't know.
I don't think
Or is
so.
that's not a stage name. That's a
Yeah.
legit name.
I don't
It's a cool name.
I don't think it's
he
his real
sounds like
name.
he sounds like he should be in Tombstone to me. The movie, kind of
Ringo
old school.
Starr. Yeah. Like Billy the Kid
Yeah, he
and
just
Ringo
sounds
Starr.
like kind of an old Western guy. What's the next topic you got on The Simpsons? I'm curious.
So they've actually predicted 2 different outbreaks. They predicted the Ebola outbreak and kind of predicted COVID.
I've heard the COVID one.
Yeah, so there was an episode with an Ebola outbreak in 1997 in America, and then we had our outbreak in 2014.
Yeah, that was. I feel like that was overhyped though, the Ebola thing. Because
I don't know, Ebola's nasty.
yeah, but when I think of Ebola, I think of like pooping out your guts and stuff, and like
Right.
like barfing your intestines out or something like that's
Right.
like The Hot Zone. Remember the book The Hot Zone?
Yes.
Yeah, but that never happened here. You know what I mean? And I remember like my my wife at the time, she was,
Which one?
shut up. She was really like all WebMD, like really paranoid about everything, about stuff like that. So I remember she had to go to the doctor for something. I remember her like freaking out to the doctor, like this Ebola thing and all this, and he's like, that comes from feces. So just, don't be eating poop.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so my son was only 3 and he was really sick all the time. I was terrified to go to the emergency room because I'm like, he's going to get Ebola like if we go there. Because you never know what you're going to catch, and everyone was
Were you
talking
freaked out
it.
about COVID too?
No. Like, I wore a mask, but like I didn't like wipe down my groceries, and like I didn't freak out about if I had to leave the house.
I was never once scared about COVID.
Yeah,
I can honestly 100% say that.
Well,
I wasn't a huge fan to be.
my uncle died of COVID.
Lots of people died of COVID, and it wasn't that I didn't think it was real or that people were dying. It was that I was a fairly young, healthy man that, I mean, like, I wasn't worried. I could have just as easily died of, like, really bad flu or,
He was like early 50s and super healthy, so like it freaked me out. So, but I still wasn't like freaked out, like overly freaked out, but like I was cautious. And then I ended up getting it, and I've had a chronic cough since then for 18 months.
What were you going to say?
I was just going to say I had to go out and get fresh air during that when the pandemic was at
Oh my gosh, that was awful.
Don't get fresh air.
Who said don't get fresh air?
Well, I mean, you know what I mean. I might be exaggerating a little bit, but they said don't go interact with people. Try not to go outside. Don't mix. So I always had to go out and get that. Walk around the pond, walk around the park.
Yeah, I went for a lot of walks.
I respect it. I stayed away from people, obviously. I wasn't, close to people, but I think the hardest for that to me was just having to stay away from people.
Yeah, and I've been working from home since COVID hit, so like I was really away from people.
A buddy of mine said something very profound to me. We worked in an industry in the utility companies, and we were down in I wasn't personally, but the workers did a very good job of being kind of down in the pipes and things. And he said something very profound. He said COVID has allowed people to accept poor customer service. And I know this is odd, but it has application. So they say that the screens at like a McDonald's, for instance, or like a random restaurant are extremely dirty. There's no polite way to put this. You use the facilities, you don't wash up very well, you order a double cheeseburger, and then I'm next to do it. It was the weirdest thing, though, last night. So I go into McDonald's, nobody talked to me, and everybody kept their back to me, and they were feeding the drive-thru. So I know I'm a dinosaur, and I'll admit that. But I tap on the machine, and then I go to get my cups, and nobody wanted to acknowledge that I was going to grab the cup. So I felt like a thief that I needed to ask somebody to get the cups. They didn't acknowledge me, and then 5 minutes later, my food shows up with no napkins. Like it was kind of a bizarre experience.
That is so weird that you said that because the other day, like I went over to Wendy's and to the one right over here, right? And when I went in, I thought maybe there was like a screen thing because they had those screens in front of the cash registers, but they weren't ones. Turns out they weren't ones that you order on. It just would show your price and all that stuff. But lady was standing there talking on her like earpiece on the phone, and I thought maybe she was talking to a drive-through person or whatever. But then I hear her talking about how she was going out that night and this and that, and I was like, I looked at her and I was like, "Am I supposed to order in here?" She's like, "No, what can I get you?" And now I think she was the manager because all these other people were like running around doing their job, like doing the drive-through, and she's just like talking, like walking back and forth, talking on her earpiece, and I was just blown. I don't really like report people or whatever, but I was like this close to like coming home and giving a review or something because it pissed me off.
Well,
you know what I mean? Like,
law we're discussing. So we think the significance behind it is I guesstimated that there's 4 to 6 less workers in that McDonald's than you would normally see. So here's my hypothesis, business mind, right? As a prediction to what's going to happen in relationship to the show.
Yeah, and then we'll get back on to the next.
Exactly, but they service the drive-through so quickly that, in other words, they're not losing people that are seeing 30 cars in the drive-through, so they leave. So I think their profit margins are up because the employment's down, and I think they just kind of roll with that. But here's what I predict that's already verifiable. In Alabama, they have gas stations with no employees right now.
Like 100% employee free?
So I go in there and I get me a Slurpee and I do whatever I do, and you're on the honor system. In Alabama, they actually have
the honor system.
But they got cameras. They got legit cameras.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they do have those Amazon stores.
I was just
I don't know that you would get arrested right on the spot, but pretty much if you're going to be an idiot,
it's like company
the
kitchen.
Amazon stores charge you automatically when you pull the stuff off the shelves, so it's not really an honor system.
But I'm sure there's ways around that.
I don't know.
But that leads me to my next question. Is Marge or Bart involved in any of these? Like, are they the character?
Oh, that's a good question. Are these all Homer?
No.
What's your next one?
So This one is really weird. So you know how Disney bought Fox in 2017? They had an episode in 1998 where Disney bought Fox.
Was that the one? I remember an episode where like people in Fox jackets came in like they were the FBI and with guns and stuff.
Yeah,
Is that episode?
I think that was it.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, and I just thought that was really weird because, like, who would have predicted that, like, randomly Disney was going to buy Fox? Like, that, like, now I expect them to buy everything, but before that, like...
I know it's unresearchable, but I wonder in my mind if they throw out many more predictions that have become true, and then they're just hitting on a certain percentage of them.
Even if that were the case, though,
This is amazing.
they're too
stuff.
specific.
Like, this blows my mind. Like that right there. I mean, one could say that maybe NBC and CBS aren't here 10 years from now. I think that'd be logical to say, right? But maybe not. But I guess what I'm trying
But this
to say
so
is that's-
specifically that Disney
exactly.
bought Fox.
Exactly. I mean, it's good stuff.
Yeah, and I think everyone knows about this one. They predicted President Trump. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so there was an episode where it was like a future one again, and Lisa becomes president, and she inherits the economy from Trump.
Really?
Yeah.
So Trump was president already?
Yeah, so he was
On that
already
episode?
president on the episode, and then Lisa.
Was that the same one with the smartwatch since it was in the future?
No, that was a different one. So this one, they predicted it in 2000s.
So Lisa seems to be involved in a lot of these predictions.
She does. You know what? They all seem to, because like the one with COVID was Marge, was like focused on her, and I think it's funny because they had murder hornets in that one too.
Really?
Yes.
Now, were those real or were those just
Those are real.
Those were real.
I mean, I don't know that.
Like if they
Did they call them murder hornets?
I think
they did
people
call them that,
just
yeah.
started I don't know
Because
who started
that's
calling
not.
them
I'm
that.
sure they have like a scientific name.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I'm sure that, some German scientist was like, we call it murder hornets. You know what I mean?
No, I
Like,
did have a family member get stung by like 30 or 40 bumblebees,
like Macaulay Culkin.
and it overwhelmed, and I think it was a
He
hospital.
can't see without his glasses.
There was a lot of buzz about that story.
Yeah. Be real.
I think we need to.
I am so sorry, everybody, for their sense of humor and their dad jokes.
I think we need to be serious. This Simpsons topic's been cool. You know what I mean? Because honestly, our co-host here has done a lot of research on this, and I think just throwing them open and leaving it open to interpretation. Because I think you can listen to it, and it's eye-opening. I've always heard of this topic, but never heard specifics on it. And honestly, this has been enjoyable to talk about.
So
We're off to a good start.
my question now though is, what do you guys think? Like, what's behind this? Do you think that like we were talking about the writers? I mean, I've heard like that's some people's theory, not necessarily that like specifically, but that the powers that be, you know what I
Right.
mean, like that this stuff already is known, and I guess maybe one of the writers from Simpsons has an in with the with maybe they're in the Illuminati.
But they could be.
Dare I say?
I'm still trying to get in. I submitted my application.
Yeah, they don't want you.
Oh, I'd be a great
You're too
addition.
pure.
Yeah, right.
I just educate me here. So like the Simpsons is still running.
Yeah, they still have
it's
new
the
episodes.
longest. I think it's the longest running series of anything.
So what I'm hearing is
Pretty
No,
sure.
it's not.
Like
So actually, I think it's Days of Our Lives.
Oh, but that doesn't count.
sands through the hourglass, and so are the days of our lives.
Yeah, Days of Our Lives.
Yeah, those shows have been
Dr. Drake Ramore.
I used to watch the Dallas. I always thought that was interesting.
Yeah, like the old school one, JR.
The old school like oil tycoons. And
Yeah, they redid that.
I watched
I never
the
watched
newer
it.
one.
Did you?
Yeah, I liked it. And then I got
Who killed
bored of
JR?
it. Huh?
Wasn't that the question?
that was like
Who killed JR? Like the original?
Sorry, we're a little older.
I never
that was,
watched
like,
the original.
One of the stars of the show, like, I think passed away in the show, maybe.
Yeah,
And then
something.
the controversy was who did it. So they're still making predictions. There's a lot of interesting predictions, but what I think is interesting too is the amount of time between prediction and then actually happening.
Right. Like
It's
some of
not
these.
just like
Yeah,
cookie cutter
yeah.
3 to
Because
5 years.
if it was just like 1 year away or something,
Yeah.
then someone could easily argue, well, that person may have known Steve Jobs and like he
Right.
could have slipped him that information, but too much time,
When
right?
it's like a 20-year gap. Like, come on.
Yeah. Yeah, the Apple computer at that point was still a box.
Well, so there's a couple that nobody would have been able to predict because they actually predicted a couple Nobel Prize winners.
Really?
Yeah. So one of them I wrote down, his name is, I don't know how to say it. It's Bergt is his first name.
Bert.
Bert Holmstrom. He won the Nobel Prize in 2016 and they predicted it in 2010.
So I wonder, like maybe the Simpsons are just so friggin' rich that they're like, Nobel Prize Committee,
yeah, please.
here's $1 million for the Nobel Prize winner.
Yeah.
Here's $1 billion for you. No, they don't have that much money.
What's interesting about that prediction right there, though, is to put that into perspective for me. You have a person that's legit, like out in the future, but there's a lot of political and popularity contests and something like that, in my opinion.
Right.
So to actually claim that at any time in the future is impressive, because my opinion on that's always been that there's always something cooler that someone else did, but a random person wins it from a random country, if that makes sense.
Yeah, he was an MIT professor, I believe.
Didn't Obama won the Nobel Prize, didn't he?
I think so.
Didn't Trump too?
I don't think so. I don't know. Maybe.
I don't know. I can't keep
I think they just hand him the presidency now.
Yeah.
I like eating at Nobel Romans. Pizza.
I hate
Get
Nobel
hungry.
Romans. Nobel Romans is freaking nasty.
That was just
What?
a stretch. The pizza's
It's
Unless you want to sponsor us, and then you're awesome.
okay.
the
The one in Brownsburg is really good.
No, their sauce is disgusting. It's sweet. It's like super sweet. The cheese just slides right on off. I mean, like maybe if it's super fresh, but no.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Nobel Romans is gross.
I've never had that problem.
One of my
Disgusting.
best memories, though, is at a child where you can stand behind the glass and watch them make your pizza before you.
Yeah, that was Nobel Romans.
That was Nobel
Wasn't
Romans.
it? Or was it
Yeah.
Pizza Hut?
That was
Which
Nobel
one had the
Romans.
monster?
Remember at
Well-
Pizza Hut when we had those like reading things?
Yeah. Now you're onto something. Okay, so
Reading
my
things.
mom actually
Yep.
found the little reading holographic purple button, and when you got the 5 stars, you got your personal pan pizza. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
So here's
Yeah,
my
you
story.
read books and then you take your
Oh, Book It.
yeah, and then
Book
you
it,
take it
yeah.
to
Yeah.
Pizza Hut and they give you a pizza.
love
So here's
I
my
loved
story, and I'm
Book
going to
It.
stick to it. I used to always get the choose your own adventure books that you would advance.
I
further
loved
in the book.
those.
And then you always got punished. If you went from page 80 to 175, you always got on some windy road, and you had to go back and read a lot. It wasn't just skipping to the end of the book and being done.
That was the original Sims. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then I had to lie about the books I was reading just to get a freaking pizza, because I ain't reading 5 damn books to get a pizza.
Yeah,
You
for a
kidding me?
pizza this big.
Yeah,
I don't
it's like,
think
really?
anybody ever read the
I
books.
don't either.
they-
It's like while you're reading and getting all your free pizzas, I'm just going to slap down $6.85 and walk out there with a 2-liter Pepsi and grab my own pizza and get the hell out
Yeah,
of here.
let's talk about some real integrity. Jump rope for heart.
Exactly.
You can't fake that shit.
I
You know what
forgot
mean?
about
Like-
Jump Rope for Heart. I did that.
Cheat on the book reading. I think the most I ever probably read was 1 or 2, and those were probably sports books.
I've read a lot of books. I love reading.
I don't read. I listen to audiobooks.
So I listen to audiobooks more now because I just don't have a whole lot of time to read. But either I consider either when reading.
I read 3 to 4 newspapers almost every day, but I don't read any books.
I don't think I've ever read
The
a
reason
newspaper
I
in my
do-
life.
The reason I do the local paper, the indie paper, a national paper, so I can get various spatterings of news that try to be as neutral or one-sided as another, depending on the city I'm reading in.
Yeah, I don't. A long email for me is taxing. Like I have a hard time. I have a hard
can
time
appreciate that.
doing that. Like I wish I like to read. I'm actually going to a hypnosis seminar tomorrow, so
What?
maybe I can have them hypnotize me to.
Are you serious?
To enjoy reading? Yeah, to enjoy.
Okay, I gotta hear about this. What's a hypnosis?
What's your hopeful outcome before you go?
It's supposed to help you with procrastination, and it's free, so that's why I'm.
Are they hypnotizing you?
I haven't gone yet. I don't know how it's going to work.
Do you think you can
I'm
be
sure
hypnotized?
I hope so. Like, I wish they had. This is a whole nother episode that I actually want to do an episode on NLP, but like, I wish they had NLP practitioners here. I think you can only go to like the coast.
Educate me, what's NLP?
So NLP stands for Neuro Linguistic Programming, and it's sort of like hypnosis, but basically what they do is they go in and through kind of like putting you in a certain state, but they go in and they take these meta programs that have been put in your head from, maybe it was because your dad yelled at you and said you were worthless at one point when you were little, and so now like you have this thought in your head all these years, even though you don't even remember that you're worthless. Well, they go in and take these negative schemas and all that, and then they replace it with positive ones, and supposedly it's supposed to help with, like different things, like you can cure anxiety.
I've heard of that, and I heard they do it for PTSD.
No, that's legit.
Yeah.
I had a college study class that everybody had to take, and it warms my heart to say this. They talked about scotomas. So a scotoma is when you put something in front of you that you don't think you can conquer, but you actually can. Like, it could be a fear of heights. It could be a fear of public speaking.
Gotcha.
It could be anything. And then they wanted you to write affirmations. I do that to this day. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I have a huge fear of public speaking, and here I am.
Yeah, look at all these people.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
Well, I know they're watching.
yeah, I mean, it's our feed's so full.
Well-
we got to kind of ask some people to leave from time to time because we got so many people.
Our 10 fans aren't judging you.
Okay, you know what? Eventually, we're gonna have a whole bunch more, and they're gonna go back and watch these earlier episodes. So
Exactly. And then Homer screams at Bart, and Bart screams at Marge, and before you know it, they got new predictions that we're talking about.
Oh yeah, we can talk about in 10 years. Yeah. We can be like, remember that one time on our episode when you when you predicted that we were going to be awesome, and now look at us.
I predicted that I could eat 3 double cheeseburgers and 2 fries and still be hungry, and that's true.
every year we'll just do one on the predictions they got right that previous year.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Yeah, I'm really down for. I'm excited about the addiction episode. My brother's already said he'll be on it.
I have a couple people.
No. Well, we can't have too many, but maybe we do like different parts, like part 1, part 2.
So the one that I always got to throw sports in case you haven't realized that sports is.
He's addicted to sports.
That's my addiction is sports. But not to steal your thunder here, because I know this is kind of your realm and you've done extensive research. But the one I want to bring up real quick is the Chicago Cubs winning the World Series that was predicted on The Simpsons.
Yeah. I did hear about that.
To give you a 30-second background, and it's worth looking at, in my opinion, even if you're not a sports fan, Wrigley Field has like a ticker or a mezzanine that's very famous in Chicago. It's kind of like you'd go to movies in the 50s and 60s, and it would say like, Frank Sinatra performing X, but it said Cubs win World Series. I could be wrong on this, but I'm going to throw it out here, and I'm willing to be corrected maybe with comments or whatever, whoever's listening. But I think they predicted the year as well as the Cubs winning the World Series. And if you know the Cubs didn't win the World Series for over 100 years. So that's actually, it's easy to say in your lifetime that they would win it, but to be specific on the year really impresses me.
I'm pretty sure they did predict the year.
I'm pretty sure they did. I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
they did. So it's easy to say in the next 40 years the Cubs are going to win. I think anybody could say that with any major sports team because that probably should happen. But it was amazing that they had it on the ticker, the mezzanine. It like matched up in 2 or 3 areas to me.
It's amazing. There's all these all these psychics, and prophets or whatever, and even like some of those crazy religious televangelists that like say, hey, the Earth is going to end in this year, or the rapture is going to occur in this year. None of them are right, but you know what? Some cartoons can do it. You know what I mean? Like that's insane. Yeah, so so we talked about the there's the New World Order thing, like maybe that's what's behind it, like just whatever.
The reptilians.
So what's another theory of how the Simpsons are? Well, that kind of goes with that.
Yeah.
To me, I think I'm gonna make it simple. although their predictions are extremely impressive, and although there's a book of those, and honestly, she's done extensive research, but is it safe to assume that there's many more than the ones we're talking about?
Yeah, there were more.
So, like, my thing is like, I don't know that anything's extremely far-fetched is my connection that I would make. I'm extremely impressed. I'm not doubting anything, but I'm saying, like...
What about the God particle?
That one's impressive. the tiger thing, though, I mean, you would eventually think, I mean, maybe I'm not a...
They probably got lucky with that one.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
I guess
Nobel Prize winners, though?
that's impressive.
Yeah.
I think Trump or a political party before they were even thinking about politics, that's impressive.
Well, he's always talked about politics,
I
even
think
back in the
TV
day.
stations, honestly, that's kind of... I don't want to lower that, but I would say that'd be lower. In other words, that would kind of make logical sense. But I guess what I'm saying, I'm extremely impressed. I'm not demeaning the efforts because it's very impressive. Like I can't predict anything.
So your take on it is another possibility would just be happenstance, right?
Possibly, but I don't get the impression that they're throwing predictions out all the time and just hitting on some of them. Does that make sense? Like, I don't think they've really said a whole lot of, well, in the next 20 years we're going to have X. I haven't really heard about that. I've just heard the predictions that they predict are coming true, which is very impressive on their part.
Well, and the show's been around since, the dinosaurs.
Right. Yeah, I'm interested to see. It's hard to say what percentage of predictions, because the predictions are just kind of like...
Because they're not meant
what's
to...
in the episode.
And they're not even meant to... Yeah, they're not even meant to
right.
be predictions.
It's not like someone's standing there
They're just
saying
part of-
this is going to happen.
Just in the thread of the show, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I think it's amazing myself.
So what would... if we don't know any other theories, what would be another theory of how these things have come to pass?
So I'm one of those people that doesn't really believe in shit. Like, I don't believe in anything. I don't believe in ghosts. I don't believe in God. I don't believe in magic. I don't believe in people with powers or psychics or any of that. So I don't know. It's just weird. It's happenstance, I guess. I don't know.
You don't believe in magic in a young girl's heart?
No. Unfortunately, no. But I love magic shows. I absolutely love them.
You don't believe in Santa Claus?
Well, I love Santa. I love Christmas.
Yeah, Christmas is alive in your heart.
I mean, Christmas is alive on my arm.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Well played.
I don't know. I don't know if anybody knows of any other theories of how all
give
of
us your
these
best theory.
have come about.
I just can't think of a TV show, a cartoon, a person. Like, I could go on and on with what I'm trying to articulate is like, it doesn't really happen.
So,
The Simpsons are kind of the top of the stack. I'm going to let you continue.
the one I find hilarious is an episode of Family Guy from like season 3 where I don't want to say it wrong. So Caitlyn Jenner comes out before she was Caitlyn Jenner as a woman.
What? So like Bruce came out as Caitlyn?
Yeah. Well,
but
not as
what-
Caitlyn,
wasn't
but
Caitlyn-
as a woman.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
And that was even before it was rumored, because I remember
Yes.
on the Kardashians, like there for a while, they were like, "What's going on?" Like he's growing his
You watch
pony.
the Kardashians?
I used to, yeah.
That's hilarious.
They're hot,
Oh my god.
and they used to be way hotter before the fake asses and whatnot.
Oh, before all the plastic surgery. Oh,
yes.
Chloe just did a number on herself. She was so pretty.
Which one's the little one?
I have no idea.
The little spinster, like the
I've never seen the show.
Oh, okay. Well, whichever one is not the one that marries all the basketball players,
Like the Blink-182.
but the other one.
How many are there?
There's 3. Well, I'm not talking about the little. I'm talking about the original 3 sisters.
So there's Kim,
Courtney's married to the
Courtney,
guy from
and Chloe.
Blink-182.
Yes.
I think Courtney's the one who marries all the basketball players. That sounds right.
Courtney's currently married to the Blink-182 guy.
Oh,
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know anything about these
I
people.
believe I'm right. I might.
Well, okay, so I know who Kim is, but then there's Courtney and Chloe. One of them's a little bit more plump. That's not the one that I always thought was hot. It's the one that's like little teeny tiny, like small frame. I like her.
No idea.
I don't know. Anyway. Okay. All right. Well, we'll wrap this up because it's been 43 minutes. So, thanks for watching, and we will be back next Tuesday with. We don't know what the next episode's going to be, but we'll be back next Tuesday.
I'm out like Bart.
I'm off like a prom dress.
I gotta go Homer.
I'm starving. I don't know. I'm leaving.